Yeah.
All right. All right. Great then. So I think we should start.
Yeah.
So good morning, good afternoon from all the people from different places. So we're lovely to have you all today, and you've made your decision to attend this meeting, even though the tough times, pandemic are going through. That's great, and we are very happy to welcome you all. So my name is Raja. I am one of the community group leaders for Dubai Meetup Group and today's host. So I'm very happy to host, our groups, and this has been the second event for the year. So our topic, as you know, that it's on the exceptional handling, error handling. So before we deep dive on today's topic, a brief introduction on our community. So basically, this community group is for everybody, who wants to share their ideas. While you learn from other different presenters, they're actually presenting on many MuleSoft niche topics. So we are very happy, in fact, to welcome the speakers to come up and speak for the group on any of the MuleSoft topics that you've worked and have enough experience, and so that you others can benefit from you. All right. So always please send us an email to all the group leaders. We have Satya, we have Sylvia, and myself. Please let us know that you wish to speak for the group, and we're always happy to have you. Okay, so with regards to the future event updates, I believe this is one of the main thing. Even I'm very excited to have is like we have the next meetup on June 25th. Okay, the topic would be on the MuleSoft product roadmaps. Okay, so we have our speakers coming from the product team of MuleSoft itself. So they're gonna give us a brief overview about what are the product roadmaps and what is the next MuleSoft products that are planned in the future MuleSoft release. So we have already published the event for the same. So don't forget to RSVP the event, and before the slots the spaces are available, and get the maximum benefit out of it. And the good news is, as usual, we will have a quiz at the end of the session, like always, and we give away first three winners get the certification vouchers from MuleSoft, and top 10 winners get the swag goodies from our today's event sponsors. Thanks to InfoView Systems for sponsoring today's event. So about today's topic, uh, okay, can you hear me? Okay. So, about today's topic, as we see, one of the biggest challenges of our data integration is to have full transparency on the data transfers. This is absolutely essential, especially if something goes wrong. When you're building an integration solution, one of the common mistakes is to forget to consider what happens when an error occurs. So I believe if you have ever tried building up your own customer interface between the systems, I think you probably know that already. That means when an error happens, you might find that you have planned for a system for transferring data, but not to handle the data or a connection error. So your systems might be set up to provide with some, basic light information about what went wrong. However, it is very essential. It is still up to you to figure out how to solve this problem. More importantly, it is up to you to figure how exactly, to bring back the systems in sync. Also, if you have seen, it might not be a major problem if you are only syncing few specific fields from one table. But imagine a case where you're transferring in data in bulk, especially when you have a complex integration topologies, and kind of transferring information related to customer and order. The task is somewhat, it becomes bigger and trickier unless your system is capable to handle it. So it is very essential to have a kind of a good exceptional handling strategy during your implementation. So with this, we want to have this meetup schedule so to understand how MuleSoft complements to have a good exceptional handling strategy. So for without much delay, I'd like to introduce our today's event speaker. Let me introduce Mr. Jai Prakash T, who is a MuleSoft developer at InfoView Systems, and my co-leader, Mr. Satyasekhar Das, who is the CTO at InfoView Systems, and my another co-leader, Ms. Sylvia Lobo, who is a project manager at Sira Group. And at the last, we have Sri Ranjini Soma, who is the head of marketing at InfoView System. So, hey Sri Ranjini, let's start with yourself. Why don't you introduce about yourself and let us know what you have for us today, and we can go ahead with the next speaker's introduction.
Thank you, Raja. So myself, I'm going to just switch on the video for just my introduction. So hi everybody, welcome today on this lovely morning, afternoon, wherever you are, depends. Myself, I'm Sri Ranjini Soma. I work at InfoView Systems as the head of marketing. I've been here for about a year now, and I take care of all the marketing initiatives for InfoView Systems. So today we're going to start off. Satya, do you want to introduce, or should I just go ahead and start off with our slides?
Yeah, you can go first. Yeah, we'll introduce once points come.
So let's, yeah. So Sylvia, can we have your introduction, followed by one, then we can go back to Sri Ranjini with the presentation.
Thank you.
Sylvia, are there? Okay.
So let me introduce them myself. Okay.
Okay.
Hello everyone. My name is Satya. Hope most of the people actually because I'm very active into the community, and I'm the leader for the Dubai group and the Riyadh group. By looking my this costume, don't think that I'm from Dubai. I'm from India only. But this costume I bought last time when I was in Dubai. Okay. And thought what to do, this unnecessary is just lying at home only, right? So I thought let's wear this one. One more reason to wear this, because I removed my hair due to this lockdown by myself, so it's not looking good really. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, so my name is Satya. I'm the CTO for the InfoView Systems. Okay, I have total 22 years of experience now. Okay, I started my MuleSoft journey pretty long back, sometime in 2008, when MuleSoft was open source, like MuleSource. Okay, and we used to do the coding in by using just XML and all the jars and all. We import and we do the coding. Okay, so that's all about me. I'll pass on to if Sylvia is there, probably Sylvia. Otherwise, pass to Sri.
All right. So Sri Ranjini, you can continue. Over to you.
Thank you, Raja. So I'm just going to present my slides. Just a second. I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So welcome today to our Dubai Meetup, sponsored by InfoView Systems. You have, Jayaprakash, who's going to take us through the session, and we have some cool InfoView swag that's going to come up after the quiz. Very, very brief about InfoView Systems. I would like to start with who we are. So we are a team of integration experts with over 26 years of providing IT consulting and technology services, located in US, that is Livonia, Michigan, Belarus, and Hyderabad, Telangana, and India. So we are a strong team of passionate MuleSoft and other technology specialists, and we are an inclusive and diverse with equal opportunity company. So we provide integration for small, medium, and large enterprises. Our product is 400 gateway services and solutions, as well as cloud services, which is end-to-end management services. So that was in a nutshell. So we have enterprise integration, in-house solutions for IBM IAS 400 connectors. e-commerce, where we work with PIMCore and AWS stacks, end-to-end services and support for our service, I mean, for our for the product as well as the services that we provide. You can find us at Livonia, Michigan, Belarus, and Hyderabad, Telangana. So our solutions, we have connect, revitalize, and sustain, with a mission to provide our clients with consistent, with digital transformation success, as well as long-term care, focusing on business and increase in ROI. We do that through um, integration and API strategy, architecture, platform implementation in our Connect bucket. We also have we have revitalized, where we basically do legacy modernization and migration strategy and implementation, which we've been doing for the past 26 years now. So this continues. And sustain is a very sustainable model that we have for cloud services, etc., where we have end-to-end managed services on a premise and communication structure services as well. Any questions, anybody? So our partners include MuleSoft, Kafka, Confluence, Azure, IBM, as well as AWS. That's it from me. Thank you. Over to back to you guys. Take over. Thank you.
So Jayaprakash, probably you can start with your presentation. We are already now, almost 20 minutes over.
Yeah, okay, Satya. Yeah, hello everyone.
Satya, I'm sorry to interrupt. Satya, I believe there is some noise.
From my side?
Yeah, I believe. I'm not sure. Actually, there is some noise coming out. Yeah, one of the members just reported that. Okay, it's now okay, I believe. Okay, we can continue.
Hello everyone. This is Jay Prakash, having total 3.5 years of IT experience and currently working in InfoView systems as a MuleSoft developer. And today my topic is error handling in MuleSoft. And the agenda is going to cover today's. The topics are error handling, retrieve, reprocessing, and log management. And coming to the about the organizers, and Sylvia Lobo, she is an integration. She is from Integration Solution Architect, and Raja Chandra, he is a solution architect, and Satya Shekhar, he is a CTO in InfoView Systems. And coming to the topic, error handling. Firstly, I want to say what is an error. An exception occurs when an unexpected event happens while processing. Is known as error. What is mean by an unexpected? It can be an system failure or business failure. So it will be causes. And exception handling is the process of responding to the exceptions when a computer program runs. Means if you have an exception, you have to respond to that exception. That is nothing but you are handling those exceptions. In Mule, we can handle message exceptions at different levels. By seeing this diagram, we can see error handling at error handler, on error continue, on error propagate, and raise error. And coming back to MuleSoft, we can handle in different levels. One is at project level, we can use default error handler and custom global error handler. At flow level, we can use on error continue, on error propagate, and raise error. And within the flow or at process level, we can use try scope. These are the various levels of error handling which we usually performs in real-time projects. After whenever there is an error is created, whenever the error is occurred, automatically the error object is created, and the error object contains the error. For example, error description or error type. Mm, Whenever we want to call the description, we will call like error.description, and whenever we want to call the error type, means we want to call error type. Basically, error is an object, and description and error types are the properties. Mm, and Error type is the combination of namespace and identifier. Here, for example, HTTP unauthorized. Here the namespace is HTTP and identifier is unauthorized. We can take example as HTTP connectivity, DB connectivity, DB bad syntax, and here we can get separate namespaces as HTTP, DB. These are the things comes under namespaces, and I identifier like unauthorized, bad request, connectivity, and these are the things comes under the identifier. And we all know that subflow does not have error handling scope. Mm, Wherever we can place on error propagate or on error continue inside the error handling block, we can place anything we want, whether you can place on error propagate or on error continue. If you handle the error, means it can execute all the things which is present in the error handling part, whether it is on error propagate or on error continue, it will execute all the components within the block. And the error will route to the error handling only if identifies the error type of the error is handled. If that error is handled, means only it will be handling, and we will get the, and it will execute, and it will display as the 200 as a status code. And if it not execute, means, and it will get default error handler, and it will get a 500 as a status code. And Mule4 has one excellent features of identifying of these types of cars within the flow, looking what kind of connectors are placed. Suppose whenever we want to drag and drop a component to a flow, um, suppose we are dragging and dropping database connector, then automatically if we drag on error propagate or on error continue in the error handler, it will show what type it is. Automatically it will get what type it is and expected type of errors that may occur because of database. And we can see that here, this is the example, and we can get here. I have taken HTTP request, and here we will get, here we, if we select any type, means you will get
Sorry,
related.
okay, fine. Okay, go ahead, please. I thought for some time presentation was not visible, so I thought I think it's only for me probably. Hope everyone is able to see the presentation, right? And the Prakash screen.
Yes.
Can we put it on full screen mode, please? Okay.
Can you put it in presentation mode?
Yeah.
Okay. Once you go back from this your Anyone Studio, please put your presentation in a full screen mode. Okay. I think you're showing now as the Anyone Studio, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Once you go back, you please put your presentation in a full screen mode so that it's visible to everyone. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we have taken HTTP request, and I have given some unknown URL. So I have given some unknown URL, and here on error continue, or whether it is on error propagate. If you drag and drop the HTTP request, so it will display all the HTTP related things. If you suppose if we drag and drop some other connector, like sorry. Suppose if I drag and drop this select database related things, and here the type will also change, and here we will get the DB related things as well as the HTTP related things. as the same here. Whether it is on error propagate or on error continue, if you drag and drop the related connector, it will show all the related things. Whether it is database or HTTP or Salesforce, whatever it may be, it will show the type. And we want to check if anything is present in the error handling or not. If the error handling is not present anything, means it will automatically it will use default error handler. If your flow is not called by any other flow, and then it will get automatically, it will use the default error handler and get 500 as a status code. And here is one more example. Here I have taken HTTP request, same example, and here I have given the type as HTTP bad request. Here the error type is HTTP connectivity, and I am giving error, and the here type is bad request. So it will not handle, and it will get the status code as 500. I will show here. Here HTTP request, HTTP bad request, and I have taken HTTP here the error type is HTTP connectivity. If I run this, if I do, finally it will get 500 as a status code because the types is not matched. Here the error type is HTTP connectivity, and what we are taking the type here in error handling part is HTTP bad request. So it did not match the error handling part. So it automatically it will get a 500 as a status code. So automatically it will get 500 as a status code. This is an unknown URL. So this is an unknown URL. It will give 500 as a status code. And here we can see the error type is HTTP connectivity, and handle error type is HTTP bad request. So automatically it will take default error handler, and it will print 500 as a status code. And what if the actual error type and handle error type are the same, means it will get 200 as a status code. Here the same thing, HTTP request is there, and here we are giving unknown URL, and it is the connectivity error type. So here we are handling HTTP connectivity issue only. So the error handling part is handled. So we will get 200 as a status code. We will check the same. Here we will type the change as HTTP connectivity because it is a connectivity issue. So we are changing the. If you give the same thing, we will get 200 status code. Here the error type is HTTP connectivity, and we can see here namespace and identifiers also, and here unknown URL giving. So it's a connectivity issue. We are handle HTTP connectivity. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I have taken here not client security, here connectivity. Sorry, connectivity. So it's a connectivity issue. So if you handle the connectivity, it will get 200 as a status code. Again, I will give request. Now same thing, error type is HTTP connectivity, and we have handled the type as HTTP connectivity, and so we will get 200 as a status code. Error handling in main flow, it will the error handling part is handled. And next here this same actual error type is HTTP connectivity and handle error type is HTTP connectivity. So it will execute the payload message and it will with the value of error handling in main flow. Whatever the message is there, it will execute and give the status as 200 as a status code. And next, if anything present in that flow, if the anything is present in that flow means it will execute. If anything is not present in the error handling part means it automatically it will gives the default error handler. And whether it is an on error propagate or on error continue, whatever it may be, it will be present in the error handling part means it will automatically executes all the components which is present in that block. Uh, if the error is handled at on error propagate, it will raise error back to the calling calling flow. Whenever I say calling flow, it might be called by a flow reference by other flow. If no one is calling, then error will be raised to the caller. For suppose, and if error is handled using on error continue, um, it we have a private flow where the error is raised. We are using on error continue in the private flow. It will not go to the next process of the same flow, but it will go to the next component of the calling flow. On error continue will continue only to the next process of the calling flow, but not in the same flow. And next, if we are having only single flow, then the on error propagate and on error continue behaves in the same way. Instead of on error continue gives 200 as a status code, and on error propagates gives 500 as a status code. We will check this. If the same, if we have only single flow, whether it is on error propagate means we will give one status, on error continue means we will give another status. Here I did not give any type. If we did not give any type also, it will take all. Now I will check the same thing in on error propagate. On error propagate will give on error propagate will give 500 as a status code. If the same thing we run in the on error continue, the same thing if we have done the same flow, is the same flow. Whether if you run in on error propagate, it will give 500 as a status code. And if you take an on error continue, it will give 200 as a status code. We will check. Here it's giving 200 as a status code error handling in main flow. If it is a single flow, whether the on error propagate and on error continue behave same, instead of on error continue gives 200 status code and on error propagate gives 500 as a status code. And next, raise error. The raise error component is used to throw a custom error from within the meal flow. Raise error allows us to customize description and type. It will allow us to customize what the description we want and what the type we want. And we can use this component only to raise core runtime errors and custom runtime errors. We cannot use existing namespaces like HTTP, DB, the such type of things. Generally, what we have seen HTTP colon connectivity, HTTP colon bad request, and DB colon connectivity. This is the mule defined we'll define error type and description also whatever it is giving. But if we want to customize our description and type, we can use raise error, and we will check, and we will see raise error. What, how can we raise the error? Here I have taken a payload as null and is empty payload, expression as is empty payload. In raise error, I am giving item empty payload and description also. Here whatever we want, we can customize the description and type. We can only raise, and we cannot give namespace like http db, such type of things we cannot give. If we give, it will not execute, it will give an error. Suppose if I run this, and the error will be raised by ourselves, and we can customize our type, and we can give description also. What I have been calling raise. Now I will give raise. Now it is giving this is null payload, please pass the proper request. So we are raising the error here with name type, with type as item empty payload. If we give http, so it is the namespace. So if we save this, automatically it will get an error. Here cannot use the error type http empty payload, namespace already exists. So we don't give http db and salesforce related things, and we can customize the type of whatever we want, and we can give the description also. Here for raise error http item not found, if we give like this namespace and the things, and it will not execute, and we can customize whatever we want. Item not found, it is valid thing. And next topic is retrieve. In case any failure connection, we use retrieve. Why we want to use retrieve? If there is an in system issue, network issue, we will get the failure connection. If you execute the same thing in the next execution, it will get successful. For this kind of things, we use retrieve mechanism. To achieve that retrieve mechanism, we can use until successful. We can give maximum retrieves, how many we want here, whether we can use 5 retrieves or 3 retrieves or 4 retrieves. And here we want to give milliseconds also. If we based on that seconds, it will retrieve whether it will successful at second time or third time, it will be successful. If it not successful at the end, means what it will get means mule retrieve adjusted. Generally, why will retrieve is connecting issue. Sometimes our external systems might go down for few seconds. Then instead of handling all the errors again, why don't we want to give a chance to connect the same system for few more seconds? If we give, it will be executed means it will be successful. If not means it will get mule retrieve adjusted. And it contain maximum retrieves and millis. And maximum retrieves means how many retrieves we want. We can give 3 retrieves or 4 retrieves or 5 retrieves, and based on the milliseconds. 60,000 it's an default value, and we can change it whether it can for 10,000 milliseconds or 20,000 milliseconds, or we can change it and we can execute it. I will check same thing. Here until successful. Here we can see I have taken maximum retrace as 3 and milliseconds between it's at 10,000 milliseconds means it's a 10 seconds. If we take 60, it will defaultly get 60,000 milliseconds, and I have changed it as 10,000, and I have taken HTTP request giving an invalid request. Now what it will happen if I run retrieve. It is deployed. Now we will check what it will give. Here we can see here one attempt is done and second attempt is also done. If 3 is not successful means it will get mule retrieve exhausted. It will check it is until successful. It will check how many times we have given, how many retrieves. Now we can see error type is mule retrieve exhausted. So it will give exhausted, retrieve exhausted. Same thing until successful. In that maximum retrieves and milliseconds we can give whatever we want. Maximum retrieves how many times we want, and milliseconds we can change it as 20,000 also, 30,000 also. If you give 20,000 it will take 20 seconds, and if you give 30,000 means it will take 30 seconds. And again reprocessing. We want to reprocess the data means we can use batch, which can be achieved by batch scope. By using batch scope, it can be divide the input payloads to individual records and perform actions on the record, and it will send the processor records to the target system. We can batch scope. The batch scope splits the records and performs actions on each record and then reports the results. Here, for example, I have taken some integer values and strings, and we have taken for successful records, and we have stored in one place, and failed records we have stored in another place. Here total passes 7 records, and here successful records are 4 and failed records are 3. I can show this. Here taken payload as with combination of integers and strings, and I am multiplying the same thing into integer. And if I multiply a string into an integer, it's then getting an error as mule expression. So we will check. Here I am multiplying with 10, and here no failures. Here we will store no fail batch aggregators, and I have given the size as aggregator size as 2, and it will store 2 first 1 into payload. Payload means it will get 1 into 10, it's 10, and after it executes 2 into 10 20, so 10 and 20 stored in here, and after it will go for execution. And here batch step, what only failures, it will take only failures, and I have given maximum failure records as 10. Wait 1 second. The successful records are stored in one place and unsuccessful records are stored in another. You can give process. Here the size is 7 and it contains the combination of integers and string values. And now it will go to 1 and here payload is 1 and it will multiply it with 10. And after 2 it will multiply it with 10 and it will be stored in 1. It's a successful record. And another a is an in string and it cannot be multiplied with 10. It will give an error. Here what is the error type is mule expression. It's an error type. And next 4, and 4 is an integer. It can be multiplied with 10 and again 5 and it can also multiplied with 10 and it will be stored here. And next b, it is also an string and it cannot be multiplied and it will give an error. And again c, it cannot be multiplied. And the failure records are stored in one place. A, B and C, it can be stored. Now we can see total records is 7 and successful records are 4 and failure records are 3. And here alphabets we have taken here. Alphabets is, so we are getting alphabets and here the multiplied values with numbers, and because here giving aggregate size as 2, so it will take 2. So again we will get here 10 and 20. So it will separates successful records and unsuccessful failed records. And after that, log management. Logging is very important part of our environment for visualizing the data, troubleshooting, debugging, and to identify the production issue quickly. And notifications, custom metadata, and payloads are the error raised by the applications. And it contains loggers and applications. By making some changes and appending some properties to log4j XML file, this makes the process of debugging easy, and Mule uses log4j for its logging. And logger, it can be configured that what kind of specific packages are to be logged, and appenders is used to deliver the logging event to the destination. And we can see here default log4j to XML file. It contains of appenders and loggers. And logger configuration, and this is the logger configuration. It contains messages, levels, and categories. Messages, we can give any log messages, or by default messages are logged to the log file. And level, and specify the log level. It contains debug, error, info, and trace and one, whatever it may be. If you drag and drop the logger component, means it automatically info is the default level. And And the last thing, category, it's an optional that specifies the category name that adds to log4j.xml. Example, we can use our log message based on the category, or we can set log levels based on the category. Here the fields, messages, levels, and category I already explained. Yeah, that's all. If you want to.
So if anybody has any question, probably you can ask to Jayaprakash.
Yeah, hi Ashish this side. So I have a question on the error, like few things. I'll start with the error handling part. So yeah, Jayaprakash explained the basic things very well, but what like how to decide what error handling architecture to be taken? Like, is there a specific architecture we follow in Mule, or it depends on project to project and client to client?
It depends on project.
Okay, okay. And one thing, like for on error continue, right? It was told that it will give the status code as 200. Can we change that status code? Like we have an option to change the status code and reply. Uh, Maybe a custom code we can send.
No, I think it's no. If we change means I did not know that much clarity.
Okay, okay.
So if I understood your question, you want to send some kind of custom
Yeah,
error, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
definitely possible. You can
Okay.
always send your custom error code, okay?
Okay.
And we can if you talk about the success codes are it comes on the 200 category, right? So you should send the, if it is success related things, you should send always the success related code. But yeah, if your questions come to like, can we send any kind of code? Yeah, you can send any kind of code. That is definitely possible.
Okay. 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 So I'll move on to the batch job. Like I have one question, like two questions on batch job. One is since for the batch job, we pick the records, right, in bulk, and then we put them into batch. So all the records reside in the memory. So is there any way like we can have like maybe pick uh, a bunch of records, not all the records, and give it to a batch? And how feasible it is, like if like that hampers the batch job performance or what?
Could you please repeat your questions again? Want to set
Yeah,
the levels? Yeah,
yeah. So before the batch job, we have to pick the payload, right, with the bulk of records to give it to a batch, right?
correct.
Yes.
So if we pick bulk records, that means all the records will reside in the memory itself, right? And that will make the mule application heavy, right? So is there any way or any strategy we want to like do not put all the records at once to the batch job and we can give it in a bunch? And does that hamper the performance of batch job?
See, if you want to keep that, so the approach is you give the complete payload to the batch, right? And then batch loop it by itself, like, based on your batch size, right? That's how batch works. And asynchronous way is you execute your each and every batch, right? That's how it works. So if you want to, if I understood correctly, you want to store that somewhere else, and then you give some payload to batch. That's the things you want to do.
Yeah, so my question is, say I have say 1 million records into database, right? And I want to process all those records using batch job. Now if I'm deploying a mule application with a batch job, and if I'll if I'm picking up 1 million records, that's a heavy data, right? So my mule application will be very heavy taking those records, and it can go out of it can give out of memory error, right, at that point of time. So how do we handle that?
So it's better you select the less record and then put to the batch job, and let batch job, let's say you have 10 million records, right? Okay, so you can run multiple batch actually. So in first batch you can give, let's say, 1 million record. If you have assigned, let's say, less memory to your mail application, you can always give the 1 million records, and then 1 million records you can run in a batch size of, let's say, 10,000 kind of things. That's you can do.
Okay, okay, all right, all right. And can we make it sequential? Like if we want to like process the records in a sequence, can we do that?
You can if you want to do you can that you can handle by batch. You want to do in a sequence way, that you can do definitely. For example, if you have some kind of requirement, you want to process some of the set of record in one batch, and then next of the set of the record in another sequence. Like, for example, you are inserting the data in two tables, right? So you need to insert the data in a first table, the parent table first, and then you want to go to the child table. So that is your requirement, if I understood correctly.
So my requirement is I have an application which takes the records sequentially. Say I have a database and I have records with the ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And I have to push those records into another API which takes the record sequentially. Like ID 1 should come first, then ID 2 should come second, and ID 3 should come third, like that. So if I'm giving a batch, say, of 10,000, say 1 to 10,000 IDs to a batch, and I want the batch to process those 1 to 10,000 records sequentially based on ID or something, like first record will be processed like with the ID 1 will be processed first, and then with the ID 2 will be processed second, like that.
Okay. So the thing is that, how batch works. Batch works basically in an asynchronous way, right? So one set of batch you send. Let's say if you are selecting the first 10,000 records. Okay, in the first 10,000 records, if you have, let's say, 1 to 10,000 IDs, okay, so that will be processed, right, in that batch. And another batch, let's say you have 10,000 1 to 20,000 records, then that will be processed in a synchronous way, right? So it's like you can do a transformation. You can make sure that your whatever your ID you are sending to your batch, if that is just in a sequential way, okay, then it will process in that way, right? If you are sending a first batch, and you are in the first batch, let's say you are sending 10,000 records, and in the 10,000 records you have the IDs, like some kind of different IDs are there, then definitely it may not fulfill your requirement. Or you need to do, probably you have to put some condition, you have to sort based on IDs, okay, and then you process. So you need to define your steps in that way.
Okay, so say suppose I have picked up 10,000 records, right? 10 from 1 to 10,000, and I've gave them into a batch. So I cannot make more than one, like I cannot reduce the batch size, right? I cannot do like giving 10,000 records to a batch and keeping a batch size of, say, 5,000, because that will hamper the sequence, right?
See,
Yes. Hello, Sheikh here. So basically what happened when you give a record to batch, so there is a block size. Okay, suppose
Right.
the block size is 5,000 and you are giving a 10,000 record. So there
Oh,
are two blocks created. Okay, and when two block is created, so at a time, two record process simultaneously. Or parallelism, we can say two record process, one record from batch one, block size one, and another record from block size two. So there are two block one, block two. So two record put coming from blocks. So that is how you achieve parallelism in batch. For example, you have a 10,000 record and you are giving a 10,000 as a block size. So there's only one block created, correct? And then one block is created, that so one by one record is coming from one block only.
okay, but then that is pretty much equivalent to what we do without batch, right? If we are
Correct.
processing
Yes,
it
yes.
sequentially, and if
Yes,
we are
yes.
using a batch on a sequential thing, that doesn't actually affect, right?
Right, right. So if you want to process the record sequentially, so why you are going with batch? You simply use for each, correct?
Yes, yes. The only benefit I get here is like if I want to update the status of those records, like those are processed, right? So maybe I
Mhm.
can make use of aggregator in that point of time. I do not like use I do not need to update the database one by one, and I can update the database at
No,
once,
yes,
right?
yes, you can define the
So that
aggregator size.
is
Like for example, in a Salesforce, I give you best example in Salesforce. We have a create connector, create operation in Salesforce only support 200 record at a time. Correct. But we are processing 10,000 records, and we need to upsert, or we need to basically create record and update record in the Salesforce connector. Okay, so aggregator play a role where you can define the aggregator size is 200. So only at a time 200 record will be updated.
okay. Okay. So that
You got
is
it,
like
Ashish, right?
if yeah, I got it. Like if we are doing sequential thing, the only benefit we are getting from the batch is using aggregator, right?
Sequential, no, no.
See,
You,
let's see. My point is like if I have a database, let's say I'll say five records with the IDs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I want to process them sequentially, and then in the database also I want to update like these IDs are processed. So what I can do is I can give those five records to a batch, making a block size of five, but I can put an aggregator to update the field that all records are processed at once. So
so,
that will be a benefit, right?
but we are not sure that how kind means how many records coming in a batch. It is not fixed, correct? Right? You may get 5 record, but later your batch run again, you will get 10 records, correct? So
No,
if you basically yeah,
then I have to customize my select query, right? So always it will pick
yes.
only those many records
So
which of the block size, number of the block size, right?
So I believe, Ashish, best way of doing, I've understood what is your requirement. You can, instead of batch, you can use the for each. Okay, and you
Okay,
can process this sequentially. Okay, you can define your batch size in your for each, and you can, you can loop it, and that way your IDs will be inserted into database, sequentially. That is your requirement, right? So you can do in that way instead of
okay,
using the batch,
okay, got it.
right? Because batch, it will not ensure that your because it's run in a parallel, right? And it won't ensure that your IDs are inserting in a sequential way.
Hmm. Got it, got it.
and may I don't know, but it may help you. Basically, if you're getting a millions of records from database, so before loading phase, actually loading phase load the data means before the loading phase, we can say loading phase and process phase of batch. So basically, it divide the record into chunks and basically is stored in the object store. But before that, record is loaded into memory. I'm agree with you. So how to avoid that? If you can continue the streaming, for example, data is coming from database side. For database, we know that database sending us data in a streaming. Before the batch, if data is coming in a streaming way, then whatever data is coming, then on that data only loading in the memory. Once the streaming is finished, then your batch step processing. So that's how you can basically overcome the out of memory issue. But I haven't created the POC like that, but it is a kind of concept in my mind that you may follow that. Before batch loading phase, if we want to avoid memory out of error, then we can follow the streaming.
Okay, or maybe we can like use some if you're using a database, we can use some limit and something like that, right? We can pick up chunks of records and then we can
Yeah, so
provide.
basically, when you do the limit and give the, so for example, there's a 1 lakh record, but you put the limit 10,000 and you giving at a time 10,000 record to batch. So you will have 10 batch running, correct? Because you're only providing 10,000 record and you have a 1 lakh record, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, Ashish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from others? We have a lot of people. You can ask the questions, and anyone can answer the questions.
That's amazing. Thank you, folks. That's the beauty of conducting this community. That anybody can question anybody. We are very happy to, as many people are involving here. So, any more questions, gentlemen, before we move ahead with the next agenda? I think Satya, I believe they don't have any questions, or let me just check if somebody has posted any questions if we missed out in the chat. So what is the question I see from Mr. Ramesh is what is the best way to handle errors in batch processing? Satya?
Yeah, so handling the error in the batch processing, I think is already explained by Jayaprakash. Jayaprakash, would you like to repeat the same slide again and explain again
Somebody.
how we are handling the batch process? Jayaprakash? I think you are mute.
Yeah, Satya, once.
Can you revisit that slide? Handling the error in batch processing.
So, I mean, before we go ahead, let me ask Ramesh. I mean, he already explained. Do we need to revisit that page, or is that okay if you get it, Ramesh?
I got the answer. Yeah. So
Yeah, I believe
thank
he
you.
got the answer. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jayaprakash. We have another question coming. How can we track the log history from Satya?
What is the question? Could you please repeat? Anyone can answer. What is the question?
How can we track the log history?
Okay, so
Satya, probably you would want to unmute yourself and ask if you want to elaborate your question.
So log history is very easy to track, right? Even if either a cloud hub and your or your on-prem, the log file will be created. You can see the complete history, right? What it generally log is prints in a sequential time wise, right? You can check the log what time is printed. That is your questions, or like what you want to ask?
Yes. Actually, yeah, this is Satya. So we can able to track in Cloud Hub. Can we able to, for example, like in my legacy systems and all what we are doing, the logs we will be storing in our internal systems, and also like day by day logs. For example, if I'm going to hit the Salesforce and Salesforce connection errors or any external ID duplicate errors and those things and all, I need to track it. And also like for HTTP request errors, connectivity issues, timeout errors, and everything I need to track it in the log itself. So whether if I in case so all the logs will be tracked in a cloud hub, or can we able to store it in our internal logs? Like for example, in our error handling, can we able to create any connectors, add any connectors
Yes.
like SFTP like that, and like we can able to create any day by day logs with a
You
new date
you can
times.
yeah you can always stream your log to in external systems. There are different external systems are available that you can utilize. For example, Splunk or Elk, okay, Stack you can utilize, and you can simply stream your logs to directly in the Elk, okay, Elastic and Logstash and Kafka, okay, and or you can stream to the Splunk, okay, and very easily you can you can manage the log there. Also, if you want to store the logs in some kind of custom made systems, you can create your own connector, okay, some kind of NoSQL database or your RDBMS, whatever systems you have, you want to do it, you can do it. It's very easy to do, and you can definitely you can do it.
Because I heard, sorry, is this my question is wrong or not? I don't know. Like there is a limitation in the log histories. If you want to extend our logs, and then we need to we need to extend some support for getting the space for the logs. So in case of I'm doing like that, whether I have AWS server, so whether I have a big slot in my disk, so I can able to store it day by day logs or not. So that's what my question,
You
whether I
can,
can able to.
Yeah, so can I answer that question?
yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, MuleSoft has a limitation of 30 days. So it like
Mhm.
persists the logs for 30 days, but not beyond that. Yes, you can like store your logs anywhere. The best and recommended way is to use the log4j.xml file. So it provides you many appenders, as Satya already told, like Splunk or ELK or whatever, even the file appender, DB appender, you can have in Log4j files, and the logs will be directly logged. Instead of using any connector, you can just make use of Log4j file. It is very effective, and you can log
Okay.
it anywhere you want to.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
The next question, I think, from Abhi.
Yeah.
Can we handle
Yeah, can
errors
I ask
with
a question, please?
Java code? Yeah, Abhi, could you please, ask your question if you want to ask? Abhi, are you there? Okay, question is simply like, can we handle errors using Java code in mule flow instead of mule error components? You can do it, but what is the need actually? It's already provided, right? Mule components are very effective. It has been created, after a lot of testing and all. So it's manage your log in very better way. But if you want to do it, if you want to write your own Java handler and all, Java is, you can do anything, right? So it's pretty much possible. But Mule suggests to use as much as possible the MuleSoft component, which is available already, right? Instead of write your own Java component. Next question is, how is transaction rollback commit in batch processing? Can someone would like to take this question? How is transaction rollback commit in batch processing?
Yeah, Satya, can you ask one question, please?
The question is, how is transaction rollback or commit in batch processing in case of error occur while inserting record in database?
I believe Satya, the gentleman, had another question.
Okay. Yeah, please ask.
Yeah, I have a question for in error handling. So apart from the flow level connectors, flow level error handlings, in case if there any error occurred in dependencies, how can we trace those errors with error handling? Is it possible in Mule?
So you meant to say you are using some third-party component and there are some dependencies are there, dependency jars are there. Okay, and that raise some error. You mean to say that?
Yeah, okay.
So you can do it, right? If you are deployed into the Cloud Hub, okay, in your log, you can give the package. If you know, it's generally used for the debugging purpose, or if you want to, generally that is not traced much, but if you want to do it, you can configure your package level. Once you configure that package level in your log configuration, okay, and the package level and your log level, to configure that, it will print the log there. If you are using in your on-premises deployment, you can configure in your log4j. If you want to track the component level logs also, you can simply give that package. Okay, so it will print the log from there as well.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Anybody? Any questions?
Hi guys, thanks for the session. I would like to also ask about the transaction boundary topic someone posted on the group. So if someone could let know how MuleSoft can handle the transaction boundaries, that would be great. Like, do we have any connectors that have the facility to take care the connection in case of any rollback activity to the DB by itself, or do we have the privilege that MuleSoft itself can able to revert the transaction backs? So can someone can share the thought on this, how this does handled by MuleSoft?
Anybody would like to take this question?
Hello, this is Rajiv. So I would like to answer this question. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Rajiv.
Yeah. So like in the flow, there is a source, from where we are getting the data, and there can be multiple components. Okay. So what happens, when you are working on transactions, on the source, you can enable that, the transaction one, and then you have to identify the components which are which can participate in the transaction. For example, if you are having DB connector, okay, so that you can always configure that so that they can participate in the transaction, and MuleSoft itself takes care if there is any error occurred in the flow, then the participating components, they will roll back their transaction. So this is how it happens in MuleSoft. So what you have to do, just you have to do some configurations. You have to identify the components which can participate in the transaction. And then once you configure that, MuleSoft will take care on its own. If there is any error in the flow, it will be rolled back automatically. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Raju. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah, you're most welcome.
Rajiv, I'd like to come back on the same one. So if you meant to say the component in the sense like it's like a recipe that MuleSoft does provide, like let's say the auto recommit, or you want to roll back in a manual way, is like a recipe does MuleSoft itself provided?
Yeah, so what happens, the connector, if you see the connectors property, there is one of the property is transaction, right? So if you check that transaction, then you have enabled that particular connector to participate in the transaction. Okay. So what happens, if there is any error? So for example, there is a logger. Logger, you don't want a logger to be, participate in transaction, right? So, and by the way, there is no property as such for the transaction for logger. So it cannot participate. So it will not roll back. So those components which essentially can be rolled back, and if you enable them, then they will be rolled back automatically if there is any error in the flow. Okay. So for example, there is one DB which inserts the record, and you don't want it to be rolled back, even if there is any error. And then you don't configure that particular connector for the transaction, so it won't participate. This is how
okay,
it works.
Okay, I got it now. Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other question from anybody, or you would like to jump to, otherwise we'll jump to another next what to say, the quiz session. I think somebody questions, but we are not able to understand properly yet. So some voice.
I guess.
Yeah, Raja, please go ahead.
I guess we can proceed with the next. We can conduct the quiz. I guess.
Fine. Okay. Let them start the quiz.
Okay. Would you like to share the screen, Satya?
Yeah, I'm going to share the screen. Let me start this. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
No, something wrong actually. It's coming like this. So show some code, right?
You have a pin?
No. It's for, you should display the pin here. Something wrong.
Okay, you want me to try with mine?
Play. If I click on play, I have to select.
I think we have to click with
Tech, right? This is the thing.
So do we
Yes,
have a link
yes. Classic.
for this?
Now it started loading the game pin. So you go to the play.kahoot.it, and this is the
Okay.
pin.
So let me tell you that the quiz will be on the topic on the error handling. Okay, first three winners will get the voucher from MuleSoft. The top 10 winners will get the vouchers, or I mean, sorry, the goodies from the interview sponsors. Okay, right.
So in my system, it says Kahoot is loading. So is there any different thing?
You can use which browser you are using?
Google Chrome.
I should work, right? I'm also using Google Chrome. Just close and open again. Just go to the kahoot.it, and then put this pin.
Come on, guys. We have 13 more people, 52 total participants, excluding me and Satya and others. There are like 12 more people, I guess. We'll wait for 1 more minute and we will lock the quiz. Okay.
After this quiz, if you could all, just turn on your video. We'll stop the recording after this quiz, and you can, at least if you can on your video, we'll have photographs, and we'll upload that in our, Meetup group page.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Satya, I guess we can start.
We can start now, right? Okay.
Yeah, we can lock it.
We move to next question.
For me, it's a time of something like that.
Yeah, 10 second is there. So within 10 seconds, you have to answer the question.
There is no question was displayed.
It's displaying in my screen, right? Question is displaying in my screen.
Yeah, same here. No question on my screen. Oh, here
Same
it
for
will
me
show.
also.
Yeah, me also
Same
same.
for me.
Something
No
went
question is there.
See, the question will be displayed into the my screen. That's why I'm sharing the screen, right?
It won't come on the Kahoot place, the page.
It's not visible.
There was no question actually, only the triangles and pyramid.
Yeah.
No. There was question. Let me clear. The organizer screen will have the question and the options, and on your own screen you have to answer.
But how we can?
Even question was not
You have to
given.
switch between the. You have to switch between the
Even I
windows.
didn't get any question.
Yeah,
Or you
that's
can
right.
use your mobile, to answer.
Yeah, because yes, the same way you have needed two screen, one screen to read a question, another screen to click answer.
Can you start again then?
Yeah, just a moment, then we'll log into mobile.
Let me know once we will go to the question. Okay.
Let's give some time for the user, I mean attendees, so that they can prepare and we can click next for the next questions. Can we mute it, please? See, I mean, the questions will be visible on the display shared by Satya, and you have to select answers from the options you will see on your screen. Right, Satya?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So if everyone is ready, probably can I move to next question?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm moving to next question.
Wow, congratulations. People are coming up. A lot of changes are happening. Okay.
So going to next question.
Issue while connecting to database, and it has its own thrown DB connectivity as a type. What is the namespace and identifier?
Great. Next question.
Great. Most of the people got this.
Yeah.
Syed Farhan is on fire. That's nice.
Good. So let's ready for next question. This is the fifth question. We have another 5 questions. Syed Farhan top. Okay, so next question. Start now. Next question. The 7th question. We have another 3. Next question. Next.
Wow, Syed Farhan is maintaining.
Yeah, he's maintaining. Ninth question. Rajiv Mathur on top. So we have the last question, okay, and this will make the decision, right? This is the. So I'm moving to the last question. Let's see the result. Tarun Rathore, third position. Syed Farhan, second position. Rajiv Mathur, first position.
Congratulations, guys. I mean,
All.
Thank you so much.
And we'll export the report.
and we have the list of top 10 results users also.
Yeah, that's I'm going to export the.
Yeah.
Let me export the report. Summary.
First 10 what is
Sort by rank.
Sort by score, yeah, rank.
Yes. This one. It's giving. Let me check. Why it's showing like this?
Click on all. I think you are in need help.
Okay, all. Yeah. So this is the correct rank, right? First position was Rajiv Mathur. Let's see, Rajiv should be in top, right? No. Sort like this. Yes. So this is the top 10 rank. Okay. Top 10. Rajiv Mathur, Syed Farhan, Tarun Rathore, Mangesh, Kalyani, Sridharan, Bipul Nayak, Rishabh, Dinesh, and Suraj. Okay, so I'll share the Google form with all of you now only. Please, fill this form so that we can send you the goodies. Also, we can also send to Meetup about your details about your voucher. I share into the chat box. You can fill it. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm stopping the recording now. You can, if you can turn on your video, we will take a photographs.